Good day, SVG Nation. We've got a massive problem brewing down under, and it could blow the biggest deal in NASCAR right off the table. Word out of the Charlotte paddock this week is that Rick Hendrick, that Rick Hendrick, the bloke with 14 championships and the most powerful 4 cars in the Cup Series, has been quietly circling Shane van Gisbergen for a 2027 seat. The whisper is the 48. The Ally Chevrolet, the Jimmy Johnson seat, the car that has won 7 titles. But here's the kicker that nobody in the American media is talking about. There is a clause, an unwritten, soul-deep, family-locked clause that Shane has carried his entire career, and it has nothing to do with money and everything to do with 3 little numbers stitched into the side of a race car. 9, 7. If Hendrick can't give him the 97, the deal is dead. Fair dinkum, dead in the water. And once I show you what that number actually means to the Van Gisbergen family, you're going to understand why Shane would walk away from a championship-winning ride before he hands that number back to a sponsor. Strap in. This one's personal. Let me take you back to the dirt ovals of New Zealand, late 1990s, sprint cars sliding sideways under floodlights, 2-stroke smoke in the air. There's a bloke called Robert Van Gisbergen behind the wheel, Shane's old man. The family calls him Cheese. He's running for a team called Lightning Direct, owned by Roger Davis. 3 cars in the stable, the 96, the 97, the 98. Cheese drove the 97. Shane has told this story himself on the KTM Summer Grill podcast. When he was a tacker running quarter midgets, he painted his car up the exact same as his dad's. Same livery, same number. And get this, it was literally the year 1997. So the number isn't a marketing pick. It isn't a sponsor request. It is quite literally the racing surname of the Van Gisbergen family. Then it traveled 3 Supercars championships, 80 race wins in Australia, the Bathurst 1000 Trophy, the Chicago Street Race Miracle on debut in 2023. That car wore 97. The Trackhouse Project 91 program that started it all in NASCAR 97. Now let's talk data, because this is where the corporate suits in Concord, North Carolina need to listen up. When NASCAR drivers swap their identity number for a sponsor-friendly digit, performance historically craters in year 1. Kurt Busch leaving the 2 for the 41, took a season to rebuild. Kyle Larson moving from the 42 to the 5. He had to rebuild his entire mental brand. Even Kevin Harvick had to fight for the 4 when he left RCR. The number is muscle memory for the fans. It's the merch. It's the algorithm. It's the spotter calls on the radio. And SVG ran the 88 in 2025 with Trackhouse. 5 Cup wins, 12th in points, best road course driver his crew chief Stephen Doran reckons he's ever seen. But the moment Justin Marks texted him a render of that car in Red Bull colors with 97 on the door for 2026, Shane went speechless, couldn't even reply for a few minutes. That's not a driver reacting to a paint scheme. That's a son reacting to his father. And look, if you're new here, this is exactly what we do. We dig into the stories the American broadcasters fly past at 200 miles per hour because they don't understand the ANZAC racing culture. If you want to see the 97 stay on the track, if you want to be part of the ANZAC takeover of NASCAR Kiwis, Aussies, all the legends who grew up watching V8 supercars at 3 a.m., hit that subscribe button right now. Let's show the U.S. algorithm what the 97 fans can do. We're not here to be a side note in someone else's series. We're building a nation. Now back to the drama, because, mate, this is where it gets spicy. Here's where it gets crazy. Trackhouse Racing in 2026 is a 3-car operation. Ross Chastain in the 1. The rookie phenom Connor Zilisch, the kid everyone is calling the next Jeff Gordon, in the 88, and SVG in the 97. On paper, beautiful. In reality, some fans are calling it the Trackhouse Sabotage. Why? Because Trackhouse's engineering bandwidth is now split 3 ways. Zilisch is getting the brand new crew chief Randall Burnett, fresh off 6 wins at RCR. Chastain just swapped to Brandon McSwain. and Shane keeps Steven Doran, which is great for chemistry, but the engineering trickle down at Trackhouse is nothing like what comes out of the Hendrick campus in Concord, because over at Hendrick, you've got the big four: Kyle Larson in the 5, Chase Elliott in the 9, William Byron in the 24, and Alex Bowman in the 48. Larson is a generational talent. Byron has been a championship favorite. Elliott is the most popular driver year after year, and Bowman is the soft spot in that lineup. His contract is up. His health has been a question mark with the concussions, and the number 48 Ally seat is the one the rumor mill keeps circling for a 2027 shakeup. Now imagine SVG in that car, Hendrick chassis. Hendrick engines the same Chevy Bullets that put Larson on pole at half the ovals on the calendar. Pit crews that have been winning championships since before Shane left primary school. But here's the twist: Hendrick doesn't change car numbers. Mate, they have never changed them. The 5, the 9, the 24, the 48, those are heritage numbers. Jeff Gordon literally still owns a piece of the 24. The 48 belongs to Jimmy Johnson's legacy. Rick Hendrick treats those numbers like crown jewels. So you tell me, is Rick Hendrick going to retire the 48 Ally Chevrolet, gut a decade of sponsorship branding, just so a Kiwi can run his dad's dirt track number? Not in a million years. But here's where it gets really crazy. Justin Marks at Trackhouse has done the opposite. He's built his entire team around driver identity. He gave Daniel Suarez the 99 because it meant something to him. He gave Zilish the 88 because of the Earnhardt Jarrett heritage, and he handed Shane the 97 because he knows he texted him about it months in advance, and he sent him a render in Red Bull colors because Justin Marks gets it. So this isn't just Trackhouse versus Hendrick on the racetrack. This is culture versus corporation, identity versus machine, the cowboy operation that lets a driver be a human versus the polished billion-dollar racing factory that absolutely will not bend. And Shane, he's the bloke right in the middle, giving it a red-hot go and trying to figure out who he wants to be. So here's the dilemma, and this is the one Shane is wrestling with right now in the motorhome. Door number 1, stay at Trackhouse, keep the 97, keep the family legacy, keep the Red Bull deal, keep crew chief Steven Doran, keep building a brand where the number on the door is literally his dad's name in numerals, but potentially never sniff a championship because the engineering depth isn't there yet. Door number 2, jump to Hendrick, take the 48, get the best equipment in the sport, get a real shot at a cup title. Become the first non-American-born driver in modern history to win the championship, but hand back the 97, erase Cheese's number from the side of the car, become the bloke in the Ally car instead of SVG in the 97. That's not a contract decision. That's a soul decision. And here's the bit nobody is asking: would the championship even feel like a championship if you won it in someone else's number? Ask Larson. He said publicly that winning in the 5 means everything because it's the Hendrick number. Ask Chase Elliott. The 9 is his dad Bill's number. These blokes understand heritage is the trophy before the trophy. So when Shane sits down with his old man Robert this offseason, the conversation isn't how much is Hendrick paying. The conversation is, Dad, do I take the seat and lose the number? And I reckon I know exactly what Cheese is going to say. Here's my prediction, nation, and you can screenshot this. Shane van Gisbergen does not go to Hendrick in 2027, not because Hendrick isn't the better racing operation they are, but because Justin Marks figured out what the suits in Concord never will. You don't sign Shane van Gisbergen, you sign the 97, you sign Cheese, you sign the Bathurst legacy, you sign the dirt ovals of New Zealand, take that number off the car, and you don't have SVG anymore. You just got a really fast Kiwi in a really fast Chevrolet. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the lure of a cup championship in the best gear in the sport is too much for any racing driver to refuse. Maybe Hendrick offers something Trackhouse simply can't. So I'm throwing it to you, the nation. Drop A or in the comments, should Shane stay loyal to the 97 or take the Hendrick seat at any cost? I'm reading every single reply, every one, and the best take is getting pinned at the top. Smash that subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell for the next deep dive, and I'll see you at the next race. 97 forever. Catch yous later.